BCW faithful and first-time viewers, welcome to The Curtain Call, a weekly pro wrestling show that gets you up to speed with everything going on in the world of BCW. And by now, if you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe below and follow Recombination Wrestling on all social media platforms. And if you're wondering who this clean-cut individual is with these melodious tones that are piping right through your speakerphone, I am your host, the host that covers the most, Jimmy J. Now that I got myself got that out of the way, I want to ask this question. How's the quarantine life? Yes, we are still on lockdown over here in New York and pretty much the United States of America. Hopefully, each and every one of you are staying safe and you're taking the proper precautions. But I told you weeks ago, the show must go on. And last week, we introduced a new kind of segment to the show, a sit-down session. We had a shoot interview with Sasuchen's own Hollywood, Mark Schwann. We got a lot of positive feedback on that. And this week, we will continue those interviews. And this week's guest, the BCW World Champion, Mr. Darius Carter. Now, we talk about a lot of different topics. Some of them are controversial. Some of them are very touchy topics. But Carter is an open book. He just wears his heart on his sleeve, and he tells everybody exactly what he feels. He holds no punches, and folks, this is a very interesting interview with the BCW World Champion. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and take a look and listen at this interview with Mr. Darius Carter.
All right, folks, first and foremost, I know we're practicing social distancing right now, and I got to ask the champ, and I came on here, I want to take proper precautions because I don't want to, God forbid, somehow have you contract anything through social media or when so champ, am I allowed to take this mask off?
Yeah, I mean, you're far enough distance. I'm not uneducated on this disease and how it can spread, so by all means, you can remove the mask.
Thank you very much, buddy. I just, I could breathe. Whew.
Beautiful. We need you to breathe because we need you to talk. So I don't need your windpipes plugged. I don't need any gateways locked off.
No, man. Listen, it's all clear now, and you can probably hear me a little better. So I had to ask your permission as the champion. I have to make sure you're okay with that.
And a respect. You already have more respect than anyone else in BCW. So congratulations.
I try, Mr. Carter. And normally I like to start from the beginning and then work my way down the timeline, but I want to get right into the meat and potatoes right now, Mr. Carter. I want to get right into it. August 12th, 2017. It was Battle Club Pro. It was you and Pete Dunne.
That's right.
Yeah, and
right.
I want to talk about this day right here. From what I understand, you pedigreed him onto a belt, causing a laceration, injured him. But I want you to talk about this. What happened on this day?
Right. So, first off, that didn't happen. That's not how it happened. So, it's amazing because there were so many versions of that story that were told to me. I was the one in the situation, and I had stories told to me of what I did. And I was like, it's so bizarre. You know what I mean? It's all about name value and who you are to people. And I think that I got more flack than a lot of other people would have gotten in that circumstance just because of I'm who I am, and I had that quote unquote reputation. People want to make me the monster. It's very easy to make someone like me the monster. And I don't use the victim word because I hate that word. I think that's just such a self-defeating word, victim. And I'm no victim, but it's easy to pin the tail on me. It's easy to, I'm just one of those people. I say what I say. I stand by my word. My word has never changed. That's something that people don't ever talk about. In a business full of liars and cheaters and hypocrites and double standards and a lot of disgusting things, child pornography and all these other things, it's amazing how I can catch a flack on something like this. I hit him with the belt, and I always compare it to when Finn Balor won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, when he was cut in the face with the belt because it was wrapped around his head. If you remember that, this was a few years back, and that's really what happened with Pete. I hit him with the Tier 1 championship, which, you know, it's a different championship. I should have used the WWE championship because that's just in better condition, and that's what I should have done. It just would have been a better thing for the match if I had done that, but I just grabbed the Tier 1 because it was the closest one. And I hit him with it, but it wrapped around one of the sides of the championship, wrapped around his head. And that's what cut him open. So usually you want to have it buttoned on the back, the championship. You see here. You want to have those buttoned up. And I've ever since that event, I've made sure whenever I have the championship, you know, as best I can to have it buttoned up, even if I'm not using it as a weapon per se. It's just a precaution, and we don't think about it. But if you're hitting someone with a championship title, and you don't have it positioned like this, and its arms are dangling.
Yeah,
it can go around, and it's just a freak accident. I've hit people with championships so many times. I'm not a cheater, but that's just what I've done. I've done it a million times, and I've done it since. And to Chris Dickinson at Warriors of Wrestling back in October. So it's just a bad. Of course, it happened when I was in there with Pete Dunne. You know, of course, it happened during then the biggest match of my career against the WWE United Kingdom champion. Of course, this happens. And I remember I never felt like that before or since. I hit him with the championship, and I looked down on him, and I was like, oh. I was like, oh,
here we go. What did he have to say about it?
He was. I mean, apparently he got back there first. I was still out in the ring, selling what have you from the triangle choke, which he put me in, and I immediately tapped out because I knew it was just time. He got back there first. I think he was upset, and he had all the right to be. I mean, it was just a bad situation. But what happened after was I had pedigreed him, and I gave him a pretty strong pedigree. He went onto his head and his knees, and I had him hooked. So I think the pedigree, and honestly, I was just a little dazzled from after hitting him with the championship.
Yeah.
And then I hit him with the pedigree, and I've performed, not to like do the pedigree all the time, but I've done the move before. It's never been an issue. It's just everything fell apart after that championship strike. And I always take responsibility. It's the biggest event of my career where that happened, where I take that responsibility. I've never deferred it. I never gave it to anybody else. I never made an excuse. I owned it. Went to see him in the hospital afterwards. He wasn't there. So I don't know what happened. I think they just went home because we went to the nearest hospital. Yeah. He was not there. He never even checked in. So I think Pete just
taped it up real quick and hey, listen, took the loss. And then
that's the European style. William Regal, Finley, they'll tell you that. Finley and Regal, they were just talking about it on Twitter where Finley popped Regal dead square in the nose. Almost broke his, it rocked him, broke his nose on fight. Yeah. And it just happens, and that's their style. And obviously I don't have that acumen of William Regal or Finley to do something like that and not be as criticized. It happened. It is what it is. Pete was the coolest about it. He was fine. And that's who I cared about, That next day, on that next Saturday, because the event happened on a Friday, that next day, oh my goodness, the social media was just tearing me up, and I was just like, Lord, I'm working. I went to work the next morning, and I'm seeing this. My phone is blowing up with all this Pete Dunne situation, everyone's take on it, and everyone thinking the story changed so many times. I pedigreed him on a belt. I pedigreed him outside of the ring. It was like.
What do you think of this as you were seeing this on social media? What was going through your mind?
Of course.
Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah, exactly.
People prey on my downfall. People wish for it, and it's amazing. These are people that say they don't know me or don't care about me. They care. They want to see me fail, and that's because I'm a traditional guy. I do things my way. I'm not a bootlicker like so many are. Everything that I've had, I've earned. This championship, my road to the BCW championship, this isn't just a storyline. I was wrestling since 2016 when they debuted. I wasn't on their debut show, but I was a part of BCW shortly after. My climb to the championship was the longest. I had to prove myself more than anybody else did. More than, like, Mike Orlando came into the room. He's just the type of guy that gets the shot first. You know, you look at him, you're like, all right, well, he's a good-looking guy. He's big. He got the football background. And I love Mike. This is not an insult to him. But it's a good thing, in fact, because Mike was that guy at the time where a lot of these independent promotions were putting their stock on him. And then, or he gets hurt or something, then it's like, all right, well, Joe Gacy is the guy. All right, well, Azriel is the guy. And Azriel really is, an exemplary member of BCW. Outside of me, like, we talk about Eric Jaden, but Azriel to me is like, if I'm the mind, Azriel is the heart, or if I'm the body, whatever, this and that. And I'll tell you that BCW was built on my back. You know what I mean? I will say that with pride. But Azriel was definitely a cornerstone of BCW. And that for that I respect him more than anybody else. So, all right, well, Azriel gets the shot. But I had to scratch and claw, man, and I was heavily featured on the show. I just was not being put in a championship opportunity for years. I just kept showing up, and sometimes I'd wrestle the name and I'd beat the name, but I was defending the Tier 1 championship. I wasn't going for the BCW.
Why do you think it took you that long?
I think Tier 1 might have had something to do with it. I think because I was Tier 1 champion and BCW wanted me to represent them if I was going to be the champion. And this is just me talking to you.
Yeah.
That's what I think it was. I think it's representation. I guess it's not easy to expect a guy to carry your championship and another championship and promote them both evenly. But I'm one of those people that have proven myself where I can do that. Not a lot of people do that. A lot of people carry a title and that's it. They just carry the title. Hey, look, I'm the champ, but they don't. For me, it's in my header. It's in my profile. It's everywhere.
It's you, Mr. Carter. Believe me when I tell you. And I'm not blowing smoke, man. I'm telling you straightforward. From me to you, man. You look up that word champion, and I see a picture of you, Mr. Darius Carter, right now. And it bothers me when I was reading all this on social media. To go back to what we were talking about before, I'm going to say the guy's name right now, David Starr.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to say I'm going to quote this right here. He went on the record. He stated that if you're known to be reckless, unsafe, and disliked, and someone who's a liability on shows, why haven't you quit yet? Now, from me to you, I've seen you in action, a multitude of times. And unsafe is not even a word I would even think of when it comes to you. I see you in that ring. You have this old school, slow, methodical style. You pick apart a body part, and that's how it's supposed to be done, I believe. So, I mean, when you heard this, like, when you hear that word unsafe, like, what goes through your mind? Like, it gets thrown around a lot, loosely. Like it says that we're always unsafe. This one's unsafe. But what do you think about that statement?
I mean, firstly, again, of course, I expected that from David. David's the type of guy that plays the social media high horse. He likes to be known. He wants to be the most liked guy in the room. And he wants that spotlight. He's a white horse, or a white knight, rather. He's a white knight in disguise. You know what I mean? And I say disguise because that's not the real person, and he knows that's not the real him. And this is something I would say to his face, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying this for views or anything like that. It's just the real talk. So I think he did it on purpose because he knew that I wasn't going to fight back on social media because that's not how I do things. Yeah. I think he knew that he had a social backing. He has a huge audience of people that follow him. David's a good wrestler. I've never took that from him. I think David Starr or Max, the person, I think he's troubled. I think he's conflicted. I think he's not the best person. But he's a tremendous talent. He's a good wrestler. There's no doubt about it. And in a different world, if he could separate business from pleasure, what you like and don't like, we would be able to work together. But he's just, he's kind of holier than thou. And he's one of those people that'll talk to you and shake your hand to your face, and you'll talk for 10, 15 minutes, and there's a problem. You don't know it. I've talked with David. We after the show to the bars at Fibro Wrestling, I've talked to him, and told him what I thought of him, and in a good way. I like David's work, and I had told him that. And everything was nice. You know, David's one of those guys who just doesn't want any conflict in your face. He shakes your hand.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I mean, we see that all over the place.
All over the place, and that's it. And listen, I'm in the business world. I get it. You know what I mean? But I'm not. I work a little differently, and people in wrestling and in business respect me for it, and others are like, but it's the way I am. You know, if I work with you, I work with you. If we're good business, we're good business. And if we're not, we can still do business, but you're going to know that we're not on the same page like that. And David's not one of those guys. David will talk to you. He'll talk to you like you're this great thing. He'll share advice and he'll share stories. And then David will turn around and just bury you. And he's just one of those people. So it was definitely the golden opportunity for him to do it there. It was perfect. It was like, and I'm sure it was part of it's like, well, why didn't I get that match with Pete? Why are you giving that to Darius? You know what?
I don't understand none of that, honestly, man. I mean, you should.
It's sad, man.
It's in every line of work too.
It's in every line of work, and that's what I think. I think part of it too, because I thought about it. I was like, man, why are some of these guys coming after me? And it's not just personal. It is jealousy. It is envy, and it's kind of like, well, I should have got the match with Pete Dunne. I should have done this. I was like, I never asked for that match with Pete. I never politicked or messaged for Pete. You know, I found out that Pete was going to be a part of the show, and I was like, this is the biggest thing ever, because I love Pete and I love his style. That style is my style. And I've been working, I'm not going to say I've been working the similar styles. I'm not trying to compare myself to Pete, but I've been wrestling that UK British style for a while. And, you know, some people get it, some don't. And then that's where the character comes in, or the persona. And then that's the part they eat up. But sometimes fans didn't get the wrestling part. The style that I was bringing a few years ago. And then once you saw the UK tournament, all these things, all of a sudden those things
it's the in thing now. You know, they understood a little better, but it's crazy. Right. You had this long before that.
Right. I was doing limb targeting and appendage twisting, and I was doing some nasty stuff. But the most things that people were talking about, the strikes, and I would, you're hitting me hard and this and that. And it's like, but you're not thinking about the fact that the crowd is eating you up because you think it's all you. You think you're selfish. You think that you're the reason that the crowd, you're not thinking about the fact that I'm in there taking your stuff, making sure you look good. I've never heard a guy say, I don't make him look good. Never. I've heard people tell me how good I made them look, but they don't say that online. I've never in my entire career had someone tell me, not one time, whether I liked them or didn't like them, no one has ever told me that I don't make them look good. Everyone has said that, either they
never promote it though. Nobody ever promotes it.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was like, interesting. That's why you stroke your chin and you're just like, interesting. Really? And that's what I saw. I saw, just as I'm surveying this whole COVID-19, I survey things. I research before I address, before I attack. And that's not the common thing to do now. And I was like, all right. And I was watching a lot of people respond, and I was like, oh, so this is how you felt, because you never told me this. Interesting. And I had a lot of support too. And a lot of people, more support than I thought I would have in terms of like DMs. Like, I get it. I didn't want it to make it a war. I'm not here for that. So I didn't need a team DC versus non. But I respect the people that messaged me in a DM or texted me. We didn't have to make a spectacle. Pete did not want a spectacle at all. Pete was like very clear. He was like, don't bring it up. Just let it go on. And don't listen to those people. Don't engage them.
It's funny. It's funny because the man that you done this malicious act to, okay, quote unquote, like intentionally or whatever, okay, says forget about it, like it's nothing, and he's okay with it, and he let it go. But yet, there's other people out there with the knife in hand, just so quick to just just slice you right in the throat, right, or put another hole in your back, and it bothers me. It does bother me because I feel like you haven't had a platform either to get it out there and to voice your opinion on the whole situation and tell everybody how you feel about it. Because you know what? And I understand that you're not going to feed into what people are saying on social media. That's not Mr. Darius Carter. He just moves on and says, okay, as long as you already know, what you did, you're working a match. I mean, this is not, play fighting, whatever. This is something like, this is wrestling. Okay. people get hurt. Accidents happen. Mistakes happen. It happens all the time. I don't know why in the world they want to crucify you for this. Okay, when I was researching this, and I'm like, and another question came to my mind. I'm like, okay, I know you've seen a lot of your peers around you. They ultimately, not everyone, but some of them got signed and went up to the E or went to AEW, whatnot. Do you think that this incident may be one of the reasons why you haven't got signed yet?
Very possible. I mean, I'm not sitting in the office making the decisions, but I think that it's definitely affected my career in a negative way, which is unfortunate because that match was one of the best matches of my entire life. That was a very good match. Very, very, very good match. And I'm not one of those people that goes out there and says my matches are good. You'll never go find a tweet where I say this match was great. Good luck. I'm not out here looking to pat myself on the back, but that match with Pete, because it just doesn't get said, that was a truly strong match. And you could ask anybody that was in that venue at the time. You can ask Joe Hakeem, who was running the promotion. We were out there, man, and we were putting in the work and throwing chairs at each other, and it was a pretty tough match. I had gone through a table at one point, so he elbow dropped me through a table. So I mean, we were physical, and it just happened. It wasn't like there was no physicality and this one thing happened. There was a match that was increasingly physical, and then it happened. And again, it's not an excuse for it. It's a mistake that it happens. What's funny is if that happened to me, there wouldn't have been any outpour like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about because it's Pete Dunne. I'm just saying if it could have been, if something like that happened to me and the roles were reversed, I wouldn't have had that. And that's fine. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not out. Why do you think you wouldn't have had that kind of response if it happened to you?
Because people listen, I'm really good at what I do, man. I take pride in my job. Yeah. And I really do believe, with my heart of hearts, if there's one thing I believe, it's this is my thing, and I know what I'm good at. And this is my thing, man. Being Darius Carter, being the All-Father Wrestling Switches Prize, there's nobody like me on the scene right now. There's nobody doing everything that I'm doing. You may have a nice persona, but you don't wrestle the way I do, or you may wrestle really great, but you don't have that persona. Like, nobody has that balance like me. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm the best in the world. I'm just saying I'm one in one. That's it. There's no replica of me. And you may love it, you may hate it, but you can't just put me in a shop and here's Darius Carter's mold. We're going to make you. And a lot of places are trying that, man. They're trying to make me again, and they're trying to, here's Darius, here's this character. You try and encapsulate my character in one sentence. You can't do it because I can't do it. And I've created this. So if you think you can do it and when I can't, like as a fellow wrestler, come on. You're not a legend that's been around the block. You're not someone who's paid their dues in terms of wrestling 10, 20, 30, 40 years all across the world on the greatest stages. You're X. You're David Starr. And it's like, I get it. You've gone to Germany and you've had your tapings and stuff. But at the end of the day, man, you did what you had to do to get to where you are. And he's done some things. And I'm over here just I'm grinding, man, in my own way. You know what I mean? I'm making a difference in my own way. The places that get to see me are appreciating me. So it's just a matter of getting seen more. The Pete Dunne incident definitely hurt me, which is unfortunate because I feel like if it just didn't happen, we were right there at the end of the match. Who knows the praise I would have gotten? Would I have gotten the praise? Or would it? There's so many what ifs because we could have had a great match and there still would have been a problem with me. So it's not like, even if we just if there was no bleeding and we had this incredible match like that, there still would have been detractors. There still would be people not wanting to talk it up. So either way, it was going to be rough.
I got to be honest, and like I said, I've seen you in matches and unsafe. Believe me, man. And I know from me to you, and this is a shoot right here. I've never ever seen you act malicious with anybody. You're an old school worker, and you have that style. I said it before. It's very slow. You're methodical. It's very psychological. Where did you get that from? Like, who inspired you?
Yeah, that was Ric Flair, man. I mean, I grew up on Ric Flair. He was my first and primary professional wrestler. Everybody had Hulk Hogan. I had Ric Flair. I never caught to him. The vitamins, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. I was like, But like Ric Flair with the robes and the hair and his physique, again, which wasn't like, all right, 8-pack abs physique, but he was in shape. He was good, and that's what I aspire. I like that. I'm not looking out here trying to have a 6-8-pack or whatever. I just want to look the part and be in shape and be able to wrestle 30 to 60 minutes. That's what matters. And as long as you're in shape, and I'm in shape, best shape of my life, and Rick was in great shape, and I love that. I loved the entrances, the special entrances. I love the way he talked about his championship, because you could tell that title meant the world to him. Some people just held the title. Again, you just hold it and you're talking and you never mention it. You just kind of are you with a belt. Ric Flair was the world champion of my lifetime. He just carried it everywhere. And when he wasn't champion, he was obsessed with it. And when he was, he'd do anything he would to keep it. He made friends to keep it, the Four Horsemen. And Flair he resonated with me. I understood that he would sometimes bend the rules to win, because that's how much the title meant to him. And I used to watch with my great grandmother, and she was a Flair person. So I think it resonated, and it was off to the races, man. If I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm not one of those people that's like, all right, by the 5th year, I get tired of you. You never get tired of something you love. And and Rick loved it. And then as time went on, I got into William Regal with WCW, just because every time I saw this man wrestle, it was like he was always putting up a fight, man. It didn't matter who you were. You could kind of know he was going to lose if he was going to go up against, one of those quote-unquote big names or whatever, like Goldberg, for example. But, like, that was inspiring, man. Like, that Regal was just like, I'm not anybody's punk. And I love that when I was younger. I was like, this guy, William Regal would be on the WCW, he'd be on Saturday night, he'd be on Thunder, he'd be whatever it is.
Regal, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, but his matches were always competitive. This guy was he was eating people up out there. Even if he lost, he was, I remember he wrestled Randy Savage, and he was eating Savage up, and I was like, oh my goodness. Savage was in the corner just eating forearms. And it was just,
reactions, those facial expressions from Regal, man, it went a long way, and I noticed the same thing with you as well when you're in the ring. It's the facial reactions, it's how you respond to, other people, and how you respond to, like, getting hit and selling and all that, man. And you talk about being a champion, and you talk about Flair and what that title meant to him, and it was his life. It literally was. Like, it affected his real life, like his family. Like, he became the world champion in his head. Like, that was him. Yep. And that's what I see with you, and I see it in BCW. It's like right now, look, you got the title displayed right here, because you know what? That means everything to Mr. Carter. That title is Mr. Carter. I can't even imagine you without that belt right now. And I don't even know who would take that. Like, whoever holds that belt, okay, if anybody's ever going to get that belt from you, I look at the roster now, I don't see anybody, and this is with all due respect, I don't see any individual, almost went off rail right there. I don't see anybody on that roster. That's how emotional I'm getting about it, Mr. Carter. I don't see anybody on that roster that can hold that belt as well as you do. So, I ask you this now. I know how much the belt means to you, but how much does BCW mean to you? You've been there for years. How much does this company mean to you?
Well, BCW is this championship. This championship and BCW, I really don't separate, because when you are the champion, you are the company. And when I say you are the company, that means you're the first one on call for things like this, which I love to do. And I know I'm busy, but I always will make time. You know that, and Anthony knows that, because the business comes first. And I realized the role of being champion. You know what I mean? I realized what it was. I think the only thing that I was like, was about going to a school, because I was like, I don't want to, you understand. Yeah. I was like, in that certain situation, I'm like, talking to kids, with who I am, that's not particularly, but again, when it comes to media, when it comes to interviews, when it comes to discussion, when it comes to preparing segments, this and that, I always make sure, and that's what I love about it. I mean, you know, we always talk every time we're there. We always do a pre and post match promo. Yep. And I wish we did that everywhere. I'm always the guy like, hey, listen, I'm here. You have your backdrop. Let's go. I was doing this before I was champion. I was every single show. I was like, I have to put something out. And I was putting out more than the champion a lot of the time. I was putting out more than just about anyone on the roster. And I was like, and still I had to claw for my opportunity. Still I had to climb for it. And like I said, I think some of that was with Tier 1 because I was their champ and I was defending their title at BCW. So it kind of worked. But after that, after Tier 1 kind of pulled away, it was still hesitancy in putting me in that picture. Because I guess you're kind of scared of who's he going to choose, which promotion. You both get promoted just as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, don't worry about that. Like, I'm the guy where that will be handled. And I get that concern because, again, a lot of these champions aren't like that. A lot of people, again, they just carry the title and I'm here Saturday. No, that's
24/7.
not me. 24/7, all the time, every time. That's what it's all about. That's why this championship is here. That's why I exude this championship. And I appreciate you saying that with BCW in terms of me being the only one ready to hold it. And that's a compliment in terms of I'm raising the bar to another level. Like, so either I'm going to retire with this championship, which at this point is a possibility, or it gets stolen because you're not just going to beat me straight ups. But good luck because you have to do what I did. For over 507 days. I mean, you have to – I did a lot, and you may not see how much got done until it's in your court, until you have to do what I did. I took the championship to WrestleCade, defended that in North Carolina against Azriel, match 5 on the card, and Tim Horner tells me after the show at the bar, he goes, you were the first match to lock up in 5 matches from Tim Horner.
Wow.
And I'm like, these are just, again, wrestlers from back in the day, whether they were job guys or whether they were, and remember, keep in mind, those guys were getting a lot more TV time. But so many different wrestlers coming up to me of different names. And again, I'm not here to just sit here and drop names and make myself look good because I'm just sitting here making a point that the match was different. I took it to WrestleCade. I was going to take it to the UK before the Brexit issue happened and then Corona. So we'll see if that gets to happen. It's just bad timing. I had a tour coming up with them and that got
next because everything's going. It's crazy out here, man.
Got all messed. That was going to be a 10-day tour of me getting to defend the BCW championship, so the World Championship. So
taking it overseas, taking the title overseas. I mean, all these public appearances that you made, it takes a lot to be it's more than just holding the belt. You and I spoke before about bringing other people in from overseas. I mean, you mentioned it on recently even. Is there anybody else that you would like to face that you haven't faced yet?
There are so many talented, and there are men and women that I'd like to wrestle. And I would have loved like a Mako Satomura if you could get her over here. I mean, she's one of the best wrestlers in the world, male or female. It's incredible. Alexander James would be interesting from Germany, WXW. I mean, there are so many people. I would love to wrestle just about anyone that's in the United Kingdom. You bring anybody over. And I know there's a lot of contracts that are tying people up now with NXT UK. Yeah. They're snagging a lot of people up, but some of them can still do independent performances. I'm not sure, again, if they're able to do it in the States or not, but I would love to wrestle just about anyone that's on NXT UK. If I could have snagged a Flash Morgan Webster or a Mark Andrews or any of those guys, my whole point is I wanted to wrestle people that are going to challenge me and get me to that next level and beyond where I'm getting myself. You know what I mean? You can always get yourself far, but when you're wrestling people that are on TV regularly or this and that, that's going to make you better. And that's what I was hoping for with this BCW reign, and that's why I was like, all right, well, I'm stuck with, Azriel I'll wrestle any day of the week because Azriel is a world-class performer. Billy Brash is a top-notch competitor, and I've never wrestled him before. But then Jaden, who I've wrestled before, and beat already. It's like, well, this is my next challenge. I'm like, well, why aren't we getting me guys from across the world? Why aren't we getting me some of the biggest names? Why aren't we getting me someone from NWA that's able to do a BCW event? It can work out. If we can go to WrestleCade, we can get someone from one of these shows. MLW. I just wrestled Davey Boy Smith at Warriors of Wrestling, who's at MLW. Davey Boy Smith Jr. I mean, this is real talk. Like, let's do that at BCW. Those are the challenges I want. I want those globally seasoned competitors, because I am a seasoned competitor myself, and I want to test myself against the best. I don't want to face people I've faced already. I don't want to beat people I've beaten already. It took a lot for me to get one shot at this title. I won my first title opportunity in my first title opportunity. I should say I won my first championship in my first opportunity. I got it against Azriel at a cold day in hell in November of 18.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first title match I ever had.
And you won.
Yeah, I didn't lose before. I wasn't like, one of those like, he got like 5 shots. He got like, I never had a championship match before then. And when I got it, I won, and I carried the title to where I am today. So what does that tell you? You know what I mean? Like, the proof is in the pudding, man. I don't have to gossip about it.
Listen, I see you. Show in, show out, you show up. And I'm always there. I'm always watching you. All due respect to everybody else. You know, I'm in and out. You know me. I'm always doing the interviews and whatnot. When Carter's in the ring, when Mr. Carter's in the ring, my eyes on the ring, okay? Because that's what you do, and you engage everybody. You make it a must-see match, and this is what blows my mind when I think about, you know, earlier on what we discussed about, and the reason that, you know, I want you in BCW. I want you here. Okay, I always want you here at BCW. But obviously, you know, eventually you're going to go to that next level. Let's be real now. I mean, AEW, WWE. You know, it might not be that right away. Maybe it'll be MLW. Maybe it'll be Impact somewhere. But I don't know why nobody had signed you already. And that's what it's blown my mind, because I'm looking at everybody out here. And there's a lot of talented individuals, male and female. Right. But there's no Mr. Darius Carter. The style. Nope. Okay, the way that you hold yourself and you hold that title in your promos. And, you know, I think about it, I'm like, if this is the one incident, and I look at this incident, and I'm like, you know, think about this and you know, mainstream. Owen Hart almost broke Stone Cold Steve Austin's neck in the middle of the ring. You know, it's an accident. Accidents happen. Forgive him. You know, he ruined his career, I think, ultimately. You know, God rest Owen's soul. But I'm just saying, like, it happens. Promoters need to see this and stop following, you know, what other people are saying. Why don't they go to you and ask you and have you give you a shot? And that's what I want. I want to see that. I want to see Carter hold that BCW title and bring it on to MLW. I want to see Carter bring it to Impact, bring it to WWE is not, you know, they don't do things like that, but AEW might. You know, who knows? You know, there's other opportunities out there. That's what I want to see, Mr. Carter. And 11 years, April 4th of this year, 2020, is going to make it 11 years you've been doing this. Listen, what's next? What is your goal? I mean, right now it's hard to say because we don't know when the hell the world is going back to normal. But what is Mr. Carter's goal once it happens? Once it's showtime once again, what's the goal?
Yeah, television, man. Just television. They say this thing where they say there's some people that are independent wrestlers, quote unquote, and then there are TV wrestlers, quote unquote. They term it. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm a TV wrestler. If we're gonna categorize, that's how I am. And when I say TV wrestler, I say it in the sense that I love cameras. I love to know where the cameras are. I will work the cameras where a lot of people won't. And they say they want to be on TV, but they don't face the camera. They don't know where the camera is during all their incredible spots. They're not paying attention or feeding to a camera. I love feeding to a camera. I love having a larger audience seeing my work because I want the largest audience possible to see it. And I realize that the largest audience isn't always in the building. Now, you're still going to give the building their full attention, but you can cater to the camera because the fans know that they're going to respond to you cater to a camera. Just because you're not looking them in the eye, you look at camera, they're still taking it in. And I think a lot of wrestlers kind of let that. They don't think about that. They overthink the camera. They underthink it and they overthink it. And that's just my thing. I've just had a sense for it, and that's the type of wrestler I am, man. I'm okay with 6 to 8 minute matches. I'm okay with 10 to 12. It's just I want to get emotion. I want to get emotions over. I want to get the match over. And if that means that I'm not going to be wrestling for 20 minutes, then that means I'm not going to wrestle for 20 minutes. That's the sacrifice you make. I would love to go in there and do grappling fests every night for a half hour. But that's not what is always called for. And I know what my role is. My role at BCW is to be the main event because pound for pound, I am the best professional wrestler on the roster. So my job is to uphold that. My job is to face the best and continue to be the best. But at another place where I'm not champion, my job is to get there to have that role. And I want to be champion as many places as I can, to which puts more eyes on me, which gives me an opportunity, to which then I get to show myself and move on. But I've never had that stage to really show myself, whether it's the WWE, MLW. And I think if I got myself in front of those people under the right circumstances, not under like, oh, you know, pay me $1,000 to, you know what I mean, like to wrestle in my ring. Like, you gotta know, you gotta know your worth. And like, I just want to have that opportunity to prove myself. And that's something that a lot of previous things have accosted me. A lot of preconceived notions. I think I'm so good at what I do that people believe that this is really how it is, and they're scared to talk to me. I think that's why people haven't come up to me, because they're just like, oh, well, he's how he is, and he's going to defend his act. Like, they already have, again, I've already had the tail pinned on me. They've already decided what I am, and that's why I haven't gotten some opportunities. I've just been, and then people meet me, and they're like, oh, my goodness, Killer Kross. Killer Kross was like that, because Killer Kross, and he's probably not listening to this, and even if he is, again, it's a straight shoot, and he's a great guy. When we first had our match, he was my first Warriors of Wrestling World Championship defense. And, you know, he was just, going into it, he just was not, you know, I just know. He was being nice about it, but I just know he wasn't about it. He was like, and then it was like, all right, well, it's got to be a DQ, and, you know, can't get pinned, can't get submitted. I was like, all right, I get it. So we wrestled the match, this great technical match, this strong technical match. I mean, it's right on YouTube. And then after the match, it was like, oh, like, you know, people are wrong about you. You know, you're, and it felt great to hear that, you know, from him, who's now in the WWE. Who's now in the WWE. He was like, everyone's wrong. He was like, people are wrong about you. He was like, you're just committed to your persona, to your work. It resonates, and I think that scares people. And Killer Kross is, you know, the mentality on him. He's a very, very intellectual person. This guy can read you well. So he knew about the rumors. We didn't have to talk about it. He knew about it. And I knew he knew.
Yeah.
And yes. And for him to say that after the match, where he was like, listen, he was like, you know, tremendous work. And he was just like, people just have this preconceived notion of you because of how you carry yourself. And it scares people. And, you know, you're all good with me. And that felt great enough. I don't have to go on social media and talk about how much Killer Kross liked the match or liked me. It's just, that's not how I am. So, you know, I don't need to take a picture with him after the match and be like, hey, you know, that's not me.
It shows your character too.
Yeah. And I think people don't, you know, a lot of my biggest triumphs have been, a lot of them have spotlight on them, but some of them don't. Some of the best moments of my career have been, you know, in the wrestling business. Sure, they've been in the ring, but I've had so many great things outside of it, people I've met outside of it who told me things, and I carry those with me. And that's what keeps me going. If that's what answers David Starr's question, Max's question of why I keep going, it's because I get validation from people who've done more in the business than he'll ever do. I've gotten validation from people who have contracts, had contracts with WWE.
I'm curious. Name some of the people.
I don't want to do. You know what? I'll say it for him because I'll say one guy because he's a cool guy. Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger. Okay.
I'll say him. Okay. Because he was at the BCW event and he's in AEW now. And I just, you know, it's like, oh, messaging Jack Swagger. Hey, did you really say that about Darius? I'm not trying to put him in a situation. I don't know how many people watching this, but all I'm saying is Jack was really, really complimentary and really cool. And once he found out that we were working together, again in Capital, because we didn't wrestle each other in BCW, but we interacted. And he was like, you know, it was like, this is the match, you know. I'm sure it helped that I was champion, but still. And then when we worked together in Capital, he was just, you could tell he got comfortable because he was like, all right, I know that I'm working with Darius, you know. And at the end of the day, that was cool. He didn't have to say it. He didn't have to, you know, he's just one of those guys. I wish he was right next to me so I could say it with him. You know, I'm not one of those people that wants to use someone's name when they're not in the room, but
no.
We asked for a name, and that's a guy. That's a guy that was at the top of WWE, whether he was WWE Champion, World Heavyweight Champion. He held the championship. He was wrestled at WrestleMania. He was in a very respected position in that company. And there are just people that have said those things. I mean, even Pete's validation after the match. and even other just independent wrestlers that have traveled the world as much as Max or anyone else that were DMing me and just like, hey, man, or messaging me and like, hey, just we know who you are, and we appreciate you. Don't even worry about what people are saying. And I got more support than I expected through the DMs and through the messages. Again, they're DMs and messages, but I still got them. And that's what keeps me going. There were still people that understood my work. Everyone wasn't against me like it seemed. It was a big misconception. It looked like the whole business was after me, this and that. It was like, no, it was just some people who have had grudges against me from the get-go. Like an Ethan Page who has a grudge against me for reasons I don't know or understand. But that's one person. But he unblocked me on Twitter. That was cool. He blocked. I researched him. Oh yeah, it's crazy. You have no idea, man. He blocked me on Twitter.
I'm just gonna block him from oh my God, he blocked me. It's like it's a big thing when they block somebody, right?
This is the business now. But then you see him face to face, and it's handshaking and
what's up, Darius? How you doing?
Oh, so sappy. And then I'm supposed to be like, oh hey, like I'm just supposed to pretend like I don't know everything that I know. It's just so. It's so, the word for it, and I used it today on Twitter, it's lame. Lame, lame. It's corny, and it's unnecessary, And if I'm this no-name guy, why can't you say it to my face? If you're not scared of me.
What are they getting out of it? That's what I want to know.
Just enjoyment, man. It's not, people that get good positions in wrestling love to have a group of people to tear down. And I've never been one of those people. I don't need to tear down a particular person or anything like that. There may be a style that I don't like that I'll be vocal about, but that's not tearing down a person. That's tearing down a psychological stance of professional wrestling. I'm not going, oh, look, this wrestler, he sucks every chance I get. It's just unnecessary. And that's the type of guy that Ethan was. And I don't know, I haven't talked to Ethan. He hasn't mentioned me, but every now and again, if someone says something smart about me, he might like the comment or something. He's just one of those.
Did you do anything to this guy?
No. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know Ethan. I don't know Julian. I don't know this guy. And it's ridiculous. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like he has friends that tell him stuff, and he takes their word, and then next thing you know, you want to get booked in Canada, but he runs his promotion. That's crazy, man. Come on.
And out of curiosity, David Starr, did you ever wrestle him?
No, not once. He would probably never do it. David's the type of guy I've heard some things where he was like, oh, well, if Darius is on the show, I'm not going to be there. He said that to Five Ball Wrestling. Or if I'm in a match with him.
That's childish. I'm sorry. That's.
Oh, yeah. And as a white knight, that's a double standard because you love wrestling, you love your fans, but you won't agree to a booking and competing because of me, who's not even involved in you, in your segment, involved in your part of your career. And it's that white knight thing. I think he wants people to follow him. I think he wants the whole show to not happen if I'm on it, and then he can prove a point. Like, look, people followed me out. I'm David Starr, the righteous. And it's unfortunate, man, because again, the guy's got talent, but his mouth and his attitude are such negative things. You can't control him. It's very clear that you can't get this man to follow a contract, or you can't get him to listen to what you want because he's going to speak what he feels is right. And again, and part of me can understand speaking from your mind, but my thing with David is he wants the audience. I'm one of those people that'll do the right thing whether there's an audience or not. He's one of those people that I need there to be 70,000 people that see me do this heroic thing. I need people to see me cry in front of a mausoleum because people need to understand that I'm Jewish. And it's like it's wimpy, and it is what it is. There are dweebs and there are wimps in the business now that it's okay for them to be dweebs and wimps because they're protected by their social wall. They're protected by their friends. And that's how it is. And as I'm not the only one saying it. You could quote me. That's fine. I'll take credit for saying it, but I'm not the only one that said it. And it's just the way it is. That's the business now. There's a lot of guys you could just tell some guys haven't been hit in the mouth before. Some guys haven't been, and that's what it is. You talk freely with no repercussions. I've spoken and been hit. I've been in matches, very hard-hitting matches. I've never complained, and it is what it is. If I catch you, you catch me back, no problem. That's the business. I don't have to sit back and write a review or tell all these promoters that you're not good because I don't like you. Come on.
It's like you know there's that receipt coming, and you just take it, man. I mean, that's just like in life too. I mean, there's always people that have something to say about something. I mean, and then there's the people that are just work and they do it because they want to do it or they love to do it. They don't have to put on a show for anybody, and they know who they are and they know their value. And I know you know your value, man. But I just feel like a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know DC's value. And
it's one of my biggest challenges, man. It's one of my biggest challenges and it's an admitted challenge. I would say it is my greatest challenge, is knowing my value, but having to almost acquiesce to these people who I don't know what they think of me. You might, no matter what I do, may not be good enough for you because you already have a conceived notion.
Yeah.
Like these places, a lot of these places know who I am, but they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
So they've heard the name Darius Carter. They put a bad blemish on it, and now I got to work 2, 3, 4, 5 times as hard as I already am just to get your attention. And it's like, and that's an issue. I love proving my worth, but I've paid so many dues. I've worked hard, and I've been busted up, and people don't. Again, I don't sit here and put it on the newspaper, so maybe people don't understand it or people ignore it. But I've gone through trials and tribulations to get to where I am. And again, I just need the platform that's going to look at me and see me for me and give me that opportunity, because I know that if you give me a mic and a camera, I will make myself a permanent resident on your roster. I will earn that spot, but I've not gotten that chance anywhere. And I'm kind of trying with NWA. I am trying with NWA. I'm hoping when they come back, all I need is that one spot, and then everyone else is going to want to look at you. You get NWA, all of a sudden everywhere else is like, oh, and that's on me to propagate that, to make that happen. But there are other circumstances outside of me that in time have gotten better, and otherwise they've been untouched. And I have to journey through the ventures, man, through the ventures of space and through the universe. But like I said, my road is going to be harder, man. It's always going to be longer for me. But it took me a while to get into New York. I finally got there, and then I'm all over New York. Just about any reputable New York promotion has had Darius Carter, or I'm there currently. So, but years ago, I couldn't get on New York. 2014 were like the turnaround years. But I've been wrestling since 2009. I started training in 2008, so I couldn't get into New York for years. So, and it's not just talent level; it's a lot of gossip and stuff. So,
yeah.
Again, I've scratched and earned to where I am now, and I get to stretch out. I get to go to Maine every now and again. I get to for different promotions and travel up and down to Florida and this and that. So I'm not stationary, but for me, it's got to be the next level. And that's, for me, it's TV, it's television. And any way I can get there, man, once I do that, I feel like I'm set. I feel like I'm off to the races. And I'm not saying relax and like chill. No, I'm saying once I get that exposure, I'm going to compound it. Everything in life that goes, I flip it. Everything you give me, I make it more profitable. That's why I'm successful at my age. And I don't talk about the money I make, but I do very, very blessed for myself to be in this position, because I take things, I flip them. I don't just leave it on the table. I'm like, how do I take that and make it better? And that's a gift that I've had. I took that to college for my business degree. So I've done these things. I dedicate myself to these things. And I know that if the spotlight was on me and I was given that chance, I will make you remember me. I will make you know my name.
Well, we all know your name in BCW. You're the world champion. You got that opportunity. And look, 507 days, you said?
Mm-hmm.
507 days. Now, I think about it, and I don't know when the anniversary is coming up here. And, we spoke about opponents again. So you got Billy Brash, and then you got either Azriel or Jaden. Okay. Any thoughts on any one of these individuals? Anything you want to say to them? I know we kind of got sidetracked with the whole coronavirus, but is there anything you want to tell Billy or Jaden or Az right now?
Yeah, it's actually 508 days today, which is Monday. So there's that. Because 505 was Friday for the show that was supposed to happen. So, yeah, and again, it's just BCW's model, man. They just keep on going. We got hit with Christmas with a vengeance, and now you get hit with, anniversary 4. If anything, it just strengthens us. It just, BCW is always having to come back, and that's why I'm proud to be champion, because I'm the first one to rise up out of the ground and lead the troops, whether they like me or hate me. You know, I'm leading the troops. So I'm glad that I'm champion at this time. I'm really, really glad that it's me and not someone else. And it's not putting them down. It's just I know I can carry the weight. We're in contact all the time, Jimmy, and we set these things up, and it's great. You know,
and you taking the time. I know you're busy. You're still working despite everybody else being out of work. You're still working, man. So
I'm still working. It's still, and there's still, and I'm right now. I'm watching the stock market now. It's just it's crazy. And Dow is going to have their worst quarter since 1987. So that's nice. So I have to do. People don't know my hustle is silent, man. My hustle is quiet. Just because I don't talk about it doesn't mean I'm not living it every day. Every time you see me at a show, I'm coming from work. Every single time I'm coming from my job. I wake up, and I'm not going to go through my whole itinerary, but all I'm saying to you is I get up early, and I come, and I work till late, and then I wrestle, and then I get home at 3, 4 in the morning. Come on, man. I'm out here doing things. But anyway, let's not even do that, because that's not what this is about. So anyway, and a lot of people would love to brag, but about these three people, about these three wrestlers. Azriel again. Azriel deserves a place in BCW history. Is he BCW? No, that's me. And Azriel carries the in-ring part excellently, But, this is for me, man. This is for me to do the shoots and all those things and do the promo material. That's more my speed. Wink, wink. Love you, Az. But, no, Azriel is fundamental. Azriel, to me, to any roster, you should have him. If he's not going to be one of your top people, you want to have him wrestling the guys that you want to be good, because Azriel is, to this day, one of the best in-ring performers I've ever been in there with. So he'll keep you in shape. And if you can't go with Azriel, then you're not ready, And that's why I'm interested in watching him and Jaden, because Jaden has been there. Jaden has been at BCW since the beginning. And Jaden, if we're being honest, has just not been the best in-ring performer. And I don't want, again, it's not insulting him. I think part of him knows that. If Jaden's going to be or any of these people are going to be the next person, they have to be able to carry all of that. And like you said, I don't think anybody can do exactly what I've done. And I'm not saying it braggadociously. I'm saying it's just real. Nobody's going to be able to do what I did. Nobody's going to be able to follow up my reign that way. So in that respect, I kind of feel bad for them. But if there were people that could still put a speck of light on the championship, it's definitely Azriel. Although he's been there already. My whole thing is, if Azriel were to get it, is he going to have that same fire? I'm not sure. He has that fire with me, but is he going to have that fire with every single person that comes after? I'm not, and I'm talking about with the championship on the line. I'm not talking about Azriel being a great competitor. I'm talking about Azriel being a BCW World Champion. So that's something I don't know, but Azriel has, Azriel, I would look forward to wrestling him if I could. Billy Brash is someone I pretty much demanded, because I was like, after Christmas with a Vengeance, this has to happen. I don't want there to be any doubt that I can beat this man. I wasn't sure that it was going to happen at Anniversary 4, but there you go. I knew that at a future point I needed to wrestle him just to prove, just so there wasn't a what if. What if Darius Carter wrestled him that night? Yeah. No. And Billy is a really, really strong talent. He's one of the best guys in the South that I've seen. I was there in WrestleCade when he competed. Billy is just a versatile competitor. He can do a lot of different things and throw them at you at different points. I like that. I like that he's a Southern smash mouth, rugged looking guy, but there's a lot more to him than that. And I appreciate that. So, is he, the thing is when you're kind of a jack of all trades, are you excelling at anything, or are you just good at a lot of things? I can play a lot of different roles, but I excel at particulars. And my particular point of excelling is in your weakness. So if Billy is not the best technical wrestler, that's where you're going to get beat, because my technique is really, really up there. And so I can catch you there. Are you quicker than me? Are you more agile than me? There's a difference between speed and agility. Are you agile? Because if you're not agile, I have you there. So it's like, and I will attack agility and attack technique the entire match. I won't ever let it go your way. And I think you've said that about my matches. You did say that. and I'm not saying you have to have a Darius Carter match, but what I'm saying is you have to work within the space because I'm staying tight with you. I'm staying close. I'm in your face. I'm here to win. I'm not here to I'm not here to sit in the corner and wait for you to do a double cartwheel backflip elbow. Like you got to put me there. You have to put me there.
Yeah.
And Billy can put me. Billy will try to put me there, and I'm interested in seeing that because I'm not like what Billy's faced. Billy's faced a lot of guys that put themselves there. I'm not gonna sit and wait for you. You got to come for it, and Billy will come for it. The question is it enough? I'm not the biggest guy. I'm 6'2", I'm 208, so I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the biggest muscular guy, but my body can take a whole lot of punishment. I've gone through a lot of punishment physically, and I can take a lot because physicality comes after mentality. My mentality is I won't get beat, so my body won't let me get beat. So you're going to have to do a lot of work. And the question is, does Billy have enough to put me down before I can put him down? The answer to that is no, and we're going to see that happen. And I look forward to that. And then there's Eric Jaden who, Eric just has so much to prove. He has more to prove than anyone here. And I'm, again, Eric, I get it, but it's such an uphill climb for him, and you have to compete at this level. What can you put? Are you going to be able to wrestle the Dan Moffs, the Austin Theories, the Sue Youngs? Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to perform as BCW champion. You're going to get the names. You're going to get the world traveled wrestlers. You can't disappoint those people. You can't disappoint the fans. You can't disappoint BCW. So. Again, he's a good person and he means well, but can you perform at that level consistently? It's a tough climb.
That's why I told you before, Mr. Carter. I don't see anybody else on this roster that can hold that belt as well as you do. I mean, we're going to have to open up a school or something like that and start training people. We're going to have to get people overseas. We're going to have to bring somebody in there, man. Maybe I have to throw Pete Rosado in there for a gimmick match. I don't know.
That's hilarious. I know Pete wants that too. He wants to die, so he might as well be at my head. He doesn't want a virus to take him. He wants Darius Carter to take him.
Yeah, I just know that Dentist is still feeling the effects. He said, the boot and the foot and the mouth. I don't know. He's still feeling that right now. I don't think he wants to step in the ring with you. But who the hell else will? The last question to you right now: Is there anything that you want to put out there in the universe, in the wrestling universe, anything that you want to say to get off your chest? And it doesn't have to be anything about BCW. It can be anything that you want to be heard that hasn't been heard.
Look deeper, All I can ask people is if I'm sending out a resume or if I'm requesting to work with you or if I show interest, I'm picking you for a reason. I'm not just, and maybe it's what I should be doing, sending my stuff everywhere. I send it to particular places that I feel will benefit me or that I can benefit them. I'm a little more selective. It's not like I'm only sending it to 5 places, but I'm not just throwing out a resume to 700 places, and maybe that's what I should do. But my whole thing is I want to complete at a place where I know I can fit. I study these places before I send my stuff out. I don't just send it out to a place that I don't know. I make sure that I know a little something about you, at least who's a champion or at least one person that wrestles there, at least what state you're in. And I want to be a part of those shows. And there are a lot of things that were coming up that have gotten postponed because of this that I'm not even going to say because they were still in the works / 95% confirmed / 100% confirmed. And I still want those things to happen, so I don't want to jinx it. But my whole thing is listen, with Darius Carter, just, look a little deeper and form your own opinion. Watch a match of mine, watch the mannerisms, pause, rewind, watch what I'm doing, and see how much I care for the craft. I think if you look at it from that respect, if you come to me with a semi-open mind, you'll be able to be like, oh, there's a spot for this person, or there's definitely a use for him. I don't think that that's what's happening now, and I'm hoping I think hopefully that gets better, and I expect that to get better, and I feel it getting better in a lot of ways. My reputation is a lot better now than it was before. But it's still got to get to that point where, you're going to give me those an opportunity. Like I said, I just need one. I don't need you to throw 17 at me. Give me one, And I'm telling you, I'll put my body, spirit, and soul into knocking it out of the park and watching it fly out of over the rails. And that's, again, I just wish more promotions gave an opportunity. I'm different. I'm unique. I'm an intellectual black man with style, class, and grace, and a beautiful face. I'll get in there. I'll wrestle. I'll torment you. I will twist you and turn you. Yes, it's going to be a different type of match. But yes, it's going to be a different type of match. And you should want something different. And you shouldn't want every match to be a multi-man match with all these flips and dips, or a singles match with all these flips and dips. You want to have some technical showcasing. You want to have some bruising, brawling battles. And I can provide these things to you. I can provide you segments, interview segments. I can provide you plenty of material, more material than you may even promote. So it's like, again, it's just, let's get real. Let's stop listening to people. Let's stop forming full judgments from what other people say. It's okay to use it as an inkling or an idea, but to form the whole picture when you haven't even talked to the person behind it, that's ugly, and that's not something I ever did, and that's not something that people should do. So I think if you take a chance, you'll see, you'll be pleasantly surprised. So that's just have an open mind, promoters. You'll be pleasantly surprised, and you'll thank me once you do.
And I know. Listen, we thank you. We thank you for being the champion. I thank you for always taking the time out. And I mean, again, for a shoot right now, you're working. Okay, you still manage to squeeze in some time for BCW to do this like we're doing right now. You're always there. You show up. You're the first one in, last one out. You do what you have to do in the ring. You do what you have to do outside of the ring. I think about promotions. I could see you in any promotion, but I definitely could see you more in NWA. I think that's more your style. So I would love to see you there. But again, Carter, listen, you adapt, man. You adapt to everywhere you go, and I see it. You adapt to every opponent that you step in the ring with. You are one hitter quitter, I guess you could say. You're one shot on the mic. I don't have to stop the camera and then let's do this again. You go with it. You feel it. You are champion. Okay, you exemplify champion, and I appreciate you. BCW appreciates you. Again, man, I'm looking forward to whenever we resume business. And I can't wait to see the anniversary show. I can't wait to see you step in that ring again. It's long overdue. I mean, we've been watching matches of DC, but we have to see the man in person. I urge everybody, if you haven't seen Mr. Carter, please step in the ring. Well, not step in the ring. You don't want to do that, but step in the arena at least. Carter. I mean, David, listen, Mr. Starr, respectfully speaking, and I know you're watching this, I enjoy your work, but I don't appreciate the comments that you said about our champion over here. So if you want to take a challenge, you want to step in the ring with Mr. Carter, maybe you should put your money where your mouth is. Maybe you should step in the ring, okay? Put all feelings aside because this is business, okay? Yep. Sometimes you got to work with people that you don't like because it's business, okay? So put those personal feelings aside, and then maybe you'll have a different outlook after you step out of the ring with DC right here. That's just me. Just throwing it
always changes. It always changes after the match. It's amazing. Let's do business. I won't hurt you, David. Yeah, you know what I mean? I won't take any shots. Let's just have a professional. But again, he won't ever do it. So, we're wasting words. But again, I'm a professional. You may think you like me. You may think you don't like me. You may think I don't like you. Let's stop it. Let's stop the games. Let's do some business. Let's make some money. Let's put the championship on the line and let's elevate. That's what I'm here for. Elevation.
That's it, Mr. Carter. Listen, where can we find you? I mean, I know where we can find you, but everybody that has been living under a rock and don't know who DC is, where can they find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all / Mr. Darius Carter, MR, and then first name, last name, okay? And then Facebook as well, my official fan page, which is / Wrestling's Richest Prize. Again, Mr. Darius Carter, there's only one. I never had any issue getting those names on Twitter and Facebook because it's only one. So just look me up, look up the matches I post, look me up on YouTube, Darius Carter Versus, okay? And just look up some matches and educate yourself, not just on wrestling, but on who I am. Who I am is in that ring. That's who I am, okay? The style, the meticulousness, the tenacity, the vitriol, the passion, those things are all present in my matches. You can see it for yourself. So give it a chance. Stop listening to other people and ignoring that voice in your head that's telling you, hey, like, let's actually give it a shot. So let's stop playing, okay? Let's elevate the business, protect this sport, okay? Firm protector of this sport, and that's it. And let's do it together. If you love wrestling, know that I love wrestling, and we can do this, period. We can put it on together. That's it.
Hey, man, you said it right there. Wrestling brings us together, and hopefully we're going to be all together very soon, BCW anniversary. Mr. Carter, thank you very much. It's an honor, man, to just be in your presence right here. Stay safe, be blessed, and I'll see you soon.
You know I'm blessed. Golden, I got the Midas touch. Everything I touch turns to gold.
You look up the word champion, and there is a picture of Mr. Darius Carter. You know, the man holds himself very well. He articulates very well. And he's brutally honest. And you know, this is a shoot, what I'm about to say right now. There's a lot of people out here that judge other people, okay? There's a lot of people that label people because of what other people have said about them. And they assume without even knowing for themselves, okay? They don't give people an opportunity to tell their side of the story. And I'm happy that I had the opportunity to give Mr. Darius Carter an opportunity to talk about some issues that should have been talked about a while ago. Because, you know, I feel like, you know, in this line of work, okay, people get blacklisted for, you know, the wrong reasons sometimes. And all because of one incident. And I don't think one incident should define a career or should define anybody's character, okay? Things happen. Mistakes happen. Accidents happen, folks. Okay, you got to move on. Mr. Carter is one hell of a talent. And I got to tell you right now, holding that BCW World Championship right now, I don't see anybody else that should be holding the belt. Darius, okay, is this company. And that's with all due respect to everybody else out there. Darius is a premier athlete. He is very talented on the microphone. And anybody would be lucky, okay, to have this man a part of their roster. And we are over here at BCW. We may not see eye to eye all the time with Mr. Carter, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Darius, thank you very much for coming onto the show and for being an open book and literally just telling us how you feel as you always do, sir. And this week, I am proud to announce the debut of another segment on this show entitled 5 Minutes of Faith with the Faithful, where we give the faithful an opportunity to get whatever it is off of their mind and off of their chest. And I couldn't think of a better guest on the debut segment than this man right here, Mikey Mcnicholas, an independent wrestling legend, a wrestling fan legend. Okay, Mikey Mcnicholas. Mikey, buddy, enough of me talking. It's all about you right now. Here's your 5 minutes. Tell us what's on your mind.
All right, BCW faithful, welcome to the newest segment that gives the fans an opportunity to get whatever's on their mind, off of their mind, and off of their chest. And today, I couldn't think of a better guy, a better individual to be on the debut episode of this than my man Mikey. Mikey, how you been, buddy?
Yep. You know, I've been doing all right, you know, just trying to keep myself contained here. You know, I've been going 2.5 weeks without a live wrestling show. It's weird, but, you know, what can you do? There's a crisis going on.
Yeah, man. So the floor is yours right now, Mikey. Tell us whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to talk about. Floor is yours, buddy.
Oh, man. Well, first off, I want to get topic on BCW. You know, I was very looking forward to the anniversary show, which would have happened last week. You know, unfortunately, this virus, you know, kept us all contained indoors. You know, you can't go out or anywhere, but I was mostly looking forward to that tag match between Ugly Ducklings, who I'm repping right now.
I see that. I love that shirt. Yeah.
Thank you. And the East Coast Syndicate. That, honestly, in my opinion, that would have been the show steal of the whole night. They would have tore it apart out there, man.
Oh, who'd you have in that match? The Ducks, I'm assuming, right? Because I see the shirt. You had the Ducks going over?
I'm repping the Ducks. You know, I love both teams, so it's kind of hard. I don't want to get any heat from the Ducks, but my mind would kind of a little bit pull up for ECS since they're kind of like the home base boys. You know, man, it just hits hard that this week I was supposed to tomorrow fly out to Tampa, Florida. I was going to do all the independent wrestling events out there.
I know, for the WrestleMania week, man. It's crazy. I can't believe the show's still going on. I think WrestleMania, right?
It's going on, but it's like from the Performance Center in front of no fans, which is like so weird.
What's your thoughts on that? You think they should have just postponed it?
Oh yeah, they should have absolutely postponed it to June, because I heard rumors going around they were going to say June 7th. And honestly, I think Vince McMahon's just out of his mind. He's not in a good mental state to, promote professional wrestling, or like he likes to call it, sports entertainment. I'm just not a fan of WWE, not a fan of the product right now. It's just when they're not delivering consistently, it becomes a problem. You lose fans like myself and other people. That's why there's a lot of alternatives like independent wrestling. You got All Elite Wrestling out there. You got New Japan Pro Wrestling out there. You got Ring of Honor. You just got so much. I'm going to shout out Game Changer Wrestling, too. They've been stepping up themselves,
They're stepping the game up. They're changing the game. Yeah, man. There's so many different promotions. So many promotions out there. I mean, there's always content to keep absorbing in pro wrestling. So what are you watching now that we're in this quarantine, this lockdown?
Honestly, I've been just like gaming a lot. I've been pulling out a lot of old DVDs I have. Like I have a bunch of FWE DVDs from back in the day. I have some DCW stuff. I watch stuff on IWTV. What else do I got? Pretty much a little bit of everything, honestly.
Yeah, man, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going back in the archive. The network is great for that, the WWE, because I may not like the product nowadays, but, back in the day, especially like, late 90s, even mid 90s, some of the 80s stuff, even some of the WCW stuff I've been watching as of late, man. But I got to ask you, is there anything that's bothering you nowadays? Anything with BCW? Anything with any other organization? Is there anything that you want to talk about?
Oh, man. Professional wrestling, anywhere you go, you're going to have a lot of politics, man. The one thing that always bugs me about anywhere I go is politics, drama, all that BS, because I'm the type, I'll be chill with anybody, but if you're gonna start whatever, start a lot of unnecessary drama. There was a couple people last month before the whole quarantine, virus thing happened that were bugging me a lot. They had recently held a charity show claiming, they were going to give back, wrestling for a cause, for whatever foundation it was. It turned out to be BS. They were pocketing all the money.
Really? They were?
Yeah. I had seen them at a show the week after, and I was about to confront them. And basically I was like, you know what? I don't want to give like a bad name for myself, but I was just defending, people's honors, because you don't run a show, you don't pocket all the money. That's just some.
That's ridiculous, man. I had no idea about that. That's ridiculous. Like
they're gonna remain nameless for the sake of the show.
Yeah.
With all respect, I'm gonna have them nameless.
I was a part of the show, actually. I know exactly what you're talking about. I had no idea. Yeah, man, I had no idea about that. You think you're doing something, nice for, you're doing something for a good cause, and then to find something out like that, if that's legit, I mean, that's horrible, man. That's right. Karma's a bitch, Mikey.
Absolutely. They should never be able to run a show ever again, in my opinion.
I don't think it'll happen after that incident. But tell us where they can find you, Mikey.
Okay, you can reach me on Facebook, Mike Mcnicholas. You can reach me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at NYIndyCMPunkKid. For the fans out there, the wrestlers or whatever, everyone involved in the business, go out there, support, buy some merch while this is going on. Watch all the past, wrestling archives of shows that are done from any promotion. Just do whatever you can just to support the boys, while this is going on. Because some of these guys, this is their only job, wrestling. They don't have anything to fall back on. So you want to see, good people, succeed in life, like some of the wrestlers that, that's literally their job. So if you want to keep them going, just support them, man, we
love you, man. Over here at BCW, we appreciate you showing support to all the independent wrestling shows I see there all the time, man. And I hope that whenever this clears up and we have a watch party, you know what we do at Wild Wings, man, you're more than welcome. You got a beer on me because that's what it's about. It's about giving back, to be honest with you, man. At the end of the day, what can you take with you anyway? Any last words?
Support independent wrestling.
That's it, brother. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate you jumping on. This has been 5 Minutes of Faith with the Faithful. Shout out to Mikey Mcnicholas. I'll see you next time, buddy.
You know, I love it. I absolutely love it. The fact that the fans have a voice over here at BCW. And Mikey, great job, buddy. And whoever else wants to jump on board and get your 5 minutes in, you can do so. Go to jimmyjentertainment@gmail.com. Shoot me a Gmail. Give me your name. I'm just going to put you in the mix somewhere. I'm going to make a nice little schedule. I'll let you know when you're going to be on the show. And hey, you got 5 minutes. The floor is yours. Okay, you can talk about whatever you like. Anything that bothers you, anything that you want to get off your mind. And especially right now, you know, I talk about it all the time. I say it is very important to be positive. And physical health is important, but mental health is more important than anything. And for someone that may not have another person to talk to, or may just want to talk to somebody different to get whatever is out off of their chest or on their mind, okay? Now you have the opportunity. BCW is allowing the fans to do this. I want to give every single fan an opportunity to speak. Your voice will be heard on the Curtain Call. So thank you very much, Mikey. Thank you very much, Mr. Darius Carter. And folks, stay tuned as the curtain comes down. Next week, we will have another shoot interview, and we will be airing a previous match from the past in the BCW archive. Stay tuned, a lot more to come. And remember, BCW, Bree Combination Wrestling, is where the future lives.